Hey guys, it's Matt, creative and art director on Hanako Soul of the Samurai. This is development update for January 2016. Happy New Year to all of you guys that we haven't got a chance to say that to yet, even though it's the end of the month. With that, I'll jump right into things. On the programming side, our programmers are working on getting a dedicated server working. We want to have a playtest server that exists that we can play on whenever we need to, and it's easy to test game stability because we can get log outputs and things like that to know when the server crashes or what the issues are. And that moves us closer to having a good releasable version of the game down the road, already having the dead server ready to go out. Also working on game stability overall on the system side, making sure that we can play through a match and we can transition to a new match. Because mostly our campaign system, if you guys aren't familiar with that, basically whoever wins in a given match determines which map you play next. So we want to be able to hop into a playtest and start fleshing that out a little bit and getting our campaign system working. So when we're done with one match, it'll go to the appropriate map next. We have some new team members that are working on UI and UX, which is really huge. We've been without that for quite some time now. I'm going to hop over to in-game really quick, show you guys some of that stuff and move into gameplay. So one of the things that we wanted to do this month just to facilitate playtesting was add an in-game chat. So we have, right now it's just in the center of the screen, that's going to move later. It has a nice little class icon, team colored name, and your message, of course. You can do all chat. There's also team chat. And then you can also do /tell to a guy and send private messages. So pretty typical multiplayer chat, but it really goes a long way to help the game feel more like a game. Our UX developers working on our menus right now actually we want to get them to a state where it actually represents what they'll look like. Instead of being so temporary looking, we'll have a more tab-based system that's a little more intuitive for users. So as we get more serious with our playtests, it'll just feel better. It'll be easier to interface with our game. Our falling petals are back. It's been a while for that. You can see the spirit lotus losing petals, and then it actually grows back when you meditate. That broke quite a while ago because we use a plugin to handle that animation. Since I'm already in game, we can go right into gameplay. Been working on some balance and damage numbers, but also on getting some abilities in there for the Naginatashi, which is the character I'm playing right now. So one of his abilities is he has a little buff that gives him increased damage. It's hard to see that because there's not damage numbers at this time. The other thing is improving knockdown and knockback. There's a lot of abilities that have status effects like that. Basically, they function as a mini stun and a stun. We do have one of the knockdown abilities, and they stay down for a little bit and then get back up. And then we're also starting on the ninja, which right now he's just a nice little T-pose character, but he exists in some state. We're working on his weapon, which is a Kusarigama. That's a sickle on a long chain. It's a really complicated weapon. If you've played Ninja Gaiden or something like that, I wouldn't say it's like that, but it gives you an idea of what the weapon is. Grappling onto environment items and grappling players and pulling them around is something we're going to work on developing. It's going to take some time, but we're really excited for that. And then on the art side, we are starting on our next level, the Hanako Village. If you're familiar with this level, let me change classes. This is Yari Foothills, which basically this sits right outside of the Hanako Village. And now we're going to move into that actual village up the mountain, and this is a concept piece. And I'll actually go full game for that. I'm not a concept artist. This is actually the first time I've ever tried doing any sort of concept, but I wanted to make sure the color scheme that I had in mind worked for this level, and that the general idea and the placement of things made sense. And I think It's looking pretty good. The village is, of course, up in Mount Yari in Japan, and the story of this level is they found these three sakura trees in the mountains, and they thought it was impossible for trees to grow, and they thought there was a spiritual meaning to this. And basically, they built their whole village around these trees, and they built a Zen garden of snow around these trees. And they're kind of sacred trees to the clan. They're very symbolic of some personal things for me in the game as well. And this game mode, we're going to release more information about later. But it's a mixture of kind of siege and capture point. So you'll be trying to destroy or protect like this temple objective and this barn stables kind of objective, and there's other ones too. But we'll get more into that in a future update. So that pretty much wraps up what we've been working on the last month. We're heading towards having the game in a really good state by the end of March. So we'll have more coming up. So stay tuned, follow us on all of the networks, Twitter at Hanako Game, our website hanakogame.com. We've been doing developer streams more frequently on Twitch, twitch.tv/Hanako Game. So have a great month, everyone, and we'll be talking to you.